It's Trevor here, back with another tutorial. In this one, we're going to finally address the menus, and specifically this big section here, which is the products, and we're going to see how each one of these subsections is controlled. We're going to learn how to add and remove them, and hopefully through this tutorial you'll be able to manage this system as you have new products coming in, products going out, and we'll show you how that all works. So it's all controlled in a section called menus, and the way that you find that is you go to appearance, and under appearance it's under menus. You should find a screen that looks like this. One thing that I want to say, and it is a little bit of a concern, is that you cannot undo things that are changed in here without actually just going back and redoing something. So for instance, if I were to delete one of these or move one of these or change it to an address that was not correct, I would not be able to just hit an undo button. I would actually have to recreate the link that existed and set it up the same way that it was. So what that means for you is feel free to play around with it and definitely use this tutorial to make the menu fit your needs better. But I would say that one point of caution is to maybe write down or screenshot the settings as they exist currently, so that you know, moving forward, if there's a mistake, you can go back and fix it. If something doesn't look right, you can go back and see how it was supposed to look. And so for now, I'm just going to show you how each of these are built, and hopefully you'll be able to take it from there. And I'm sure there'll be some questions that I can't address in this video because they might come up as you're going, and you can feel free to email me or call me about that, and we'll address those too. So the first thing I want to do is go back to the menu and take a look at how it's set up. We have 5 different columns here, and they're categorized based on product types, and we're kind of limited by the structure of the website, and what I mean by that is we can only have 5 pillars here. We can make it less, we can have 4, we can have 3, we can have 2 or 1, but really the maximum is 5 without doing something drastic in terms of changing the way that the code is structured, and that would require a significant amount of work and downtime on the site. So we're going to look at how each one of these, subsections work, and the way that it's done is all through the filters system. So if you go here and you go to the themes, sorry, that's not correct. My apologies. That's not correct either. Sorry about that. It's in the portfolio section. So in the portfolio section, you're going to go to filters, and this is how we have categorized all of the different product types. So for example, we'll start with the ABS 1000, which is the first one on the list. And this is a filter that's been added, and the way that you add a filter is you write the name, test filter, and you would add a new filter, and that's probably the best way to start the process of onboarding when you have a new product, is to create a filter for it. And so that gives us a product variety, just like the ABS 1000, And if we go to the site and we go to products and we see that same category here, and we click on the name, and you're familiar with this page. What it does is it pulls up the products, but now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how it does that. And it does that by calling upon, within the website, it calls upon all of the products that have been tagged with this filter. And products are tagged with that filter when you're editing the characteristics of the product. So you've probably seen, if you're on the universal security system, maybe you would be editing this page, and let's see, if we edit that page, you'll see for each product there's always going to be a filter associated with that product. And so that ties everything together. It tells the website, hey, this is universal security system. It is a child, if you will, of this parent, so that's where it belongs. And so every time you call on ABS 1000 as a filter, it's going to pull in universal security system along with any other products that have been tagged to that parent. And so the way that relates to our menus is if we go back to appearance and to menus, you'll notice we have ABS 1000, and when I click this little drop down, I'll see that the URL, basically this creates a link in the menu. These are all, you can kind of see how it's indented, kind of like an outline. So this shows us we're within access controls and security, we're at the ABS 1000, and when someone clicks on that, it's asking us for the URL. This can be anything really, so you can add new links in to your menu that take users to other parts of the website, that take users to other websites entirely. Anything that has a URL, any URL that exists can be placed in this box. Now, for our purposes, it makes a lot of sense to use the filter system here because when you add in, and this is how you would do it, you don't have to type in, URLs usually begin with something like www.ElyssaCore.com, for example. But since everything is pulling from within this website, whenever there's an internal link, that's what it's called, since it's linking within the website, you don't need to put this beginning part. You can just start with /filters. And you can see how that works if we go back to ABS 1000. It actually is ElyssaCorp.com/filters ABS 1000, but this is the only piece that we need since it's an internal link. And so now you can see for each subcategory, for each child, or whatever you want to call these, it tells the website what filter to look in. Navigation label refers to the actual text, so any of the actual text pieces that we see here, that comes from the navigation label. That is how the products work, but the one thing should be said about these top pieces here, these are not actual links, these are just headings, and the way that those are created is again through the menus here. And if you look again, these are indented. That shows us that these are children, if you will, within that parent, access controls and security. But this is not a link. Remember, when we go back here, we can't click on these. And that's intentional. That's just to create some order and create some structure for the user so that they know what they're looking at. And the way it's done is a URL that's a special type of URL that's just http://$. That's just a fancy way of saying do nothing. When this is clicked, do nothing. So we have a navigation label, access controls and security. Here it is. And since it has that special link coded into it, it does nothing when we click on it. Now, if you wanted for some reason to make it a link somewhere, you could do that also. But I would suggest for now, if it fits your purposes and it's within what you guys need, to keep the structure somewhat similar, and maybe first experiment with just adding, removing, and modifying these subheadings before we get into anything a little bit fancier. So that's all for the menu within products. But one other section needs to be looked at here. And I imagine the other section you probably would like to change is the downloads. In other videos, we went through adding and removing content. So you should know by now how to manage these individual downloads pages. That's all done through the pages system. You can go back and check that video if you have any questions. If there are still things that you're not sure about, email me or give me a phone call. We'll figure that out. But for now, we're just going to look at how those downloads are managed, not the content of the downloads pages, but the actual ordering of the individual downloads right here in the menus. So you can see they were added pretty much in, I guess it's not alphabetical order, maybe it is, maybe it was random order, I'm not sure. You can order them around by clicking and dragging these up and down, and you can do that with any parts of the menu. Just be careful because it's easy to bump something out of place by accident, and that can change the whole structure of the menu. Like I said before, there's no undo button. You have to physically redo anything that's changed. So as you can imagine, that's probably, or it could be a big pain if things do get out of place. So each of the downloads is actually a link to a page. This is different from our products because these are all links to filters. Again, filters are, I guess, a byproduct of the filter system that's built into WordPress, and that's how these products were all created. They were tagged with a filter that was created through the portfolio filter section, if you remember that from earlier in this video. That's how all of these products pages are created. But the downloads are actually real pages that were added through the page system. These are more similar to things like the contacts page or the About Us page. These are real, I guess the only way to describe it is these are real pages on the website where, whereas these links, they go to something that looks like a page, but it really is asking the website to perform a function, and the function it's asking the website to do is to pull up products with that filter. So those aren't actual pages. When you click on recessed lighting, for instance, you're not getting a page that we created in the pages section. You're actually getting an algorithm that's asking the website to pull up all of the products that were filtered and tagged with the recessed lighting tag. So this is a little bit different. And so the way that you add a page, like one of these download pages, is you go over to the side here, and you would click, let's see, pages. So you can see all of your pages here. You can see the most recent ones that you've edited recently or added recently, or you can see all of them, or you can just search for the one that you know you're looking for. Let's pretend that we did not have, let's pretend we just added EC PC Cam, and now we needed to add it to our download section. We would add it to the menu. After it does that, you will see it pop up down at the bottom. And remember, everything is pretty much an outline of what it looks like on the menu here. We don't want it to look like this because it would put it at an equal level with the contact section, and that's not the right place for it. So we would drag it up here into our download section. If maybe we want it at the top of the list here, we would drag it right to the top of the list. And now you can see it's already tagged to a page, so we don't need to put a hyperlink or anything like that. It's not asking us for a URL because it's associated with a page already, so it knows where it's supposed to go. You can, of course, change the name if you, for some reason, want a different name. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that. And let's just see what happens. If I save the menu, we should notice, and it's a little redundant because I know we already have ECPCam in there, but this is just as good as creating a test one. We'll refresh it. And now when we look at the support column under downloads, we have the ECPCam right at the top there. And so that's pretty much how you'll add something to the menus whenever you have a new download section. Again, if you want to change the content in the download sections, you'll have to edit it at the page level, and that's something we've already discussed. Things like this, browse our resource collection, that's all just text that I've added in there through the menu system to make it more, I guess, just intuitive for users. It adds a little something to the site, and it's just a feature that you might choose to delete, you might choose to keep it or modify it, but just so you know, that's what those are. And those are custom pages, sorry, not custom pages, custom buttons that are added with URLs with a pound sign. That works just as well as the http:// that I showed you earlier. It's basically a dead link. It tells the site, hey, if someone clicks me, I'm not a real link, so I don't go anywhere. And so that's what that does. So that's at the sub-page level, kind of how things work with the mechanics of the menu here. Now you'll notice there are, of course, 5 big buttons at the top of the menu. These I don't imagine that you would want to change or modify. For some reason you might want to. That's pretty much the same. It's, the contact page is a page just like those downloads are, and so that was added through the same mechanism by going to the pages area, finding contact, right? Just clicking on add to menu, and pops right in at the bottom. So that's pretty much a broad overview of how the menu system works. Again, the key points to remember are how these pages actually work. They're not pages, they're algorithms that pull from the filters function. And so for the products, that's obviously very different than when you are modifying downloads, because these come from actual normal pages like the rest of the website. So it's a little bit weird because we have that filters mechanism, but the filters is actually the beautiful part of this website, because it's what makes your life a whole lot easier when you're adding new products. We don't have to create lots and lots of different pages every single time. And if you delete a product from your website, you don't have to go and then delete it from a different page. It's a much more seamless and efficient way to run the website. So that's going to conclude this tutorial here. It's probably a lot to work with. Again, I gotta just strongly recommend that anytime you change something, at least at first, before you start experimenting, I would say just make sure you either write down or have a good memory in your head of how things looked and where things were pulling from, so that if, and I've made tons of mistakes on this myself, and so I'm just speaking from experience. I know it can be a pain to get things looking back like they were in the situation where, maybe things get moved around a bit. So I hope that was helpful. And at least for now, maybe it gives you a good starting point. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or just give me a phone call. Sorry for the delay with this. I know it's something you've been waiting for, but I hope that it really gives you the ability to take the site to the next level. All right, take care.